President Donald Trump is trying desperately to revoke a part of U.S. law that protects big tech companies. The president tweeted late Tuesday night that he would veto the National Defense Authorization Act unless it included a repeal of the statute known as Section 230. If the very dangerous and unfair Section 230 is not completely terminated as part of the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, I will be forced to unequivocally veto the bill when sent to the very beautiful Resolute desk, Trump tweeted. The NDAA is an annual defense bill that grants roughly $740 billion in spending to the U.S. military. Trump in July threatened to veto the bill if lawmakers voted to rename Army posts named after Confederate generals. Section 230 of the Communications and Decency Act of 1996 grants Internet companies broad legal protections. It means tech companies are able to decide how to moderate their own platforms and are shielded from liability for content their users post. Trump has been railing against the law since May, when Twitter placed fact checks on two of his tweets. 2 days later, on May 28, Trump signed an executive order instructing federal regulators to investigate how they could roll back parts of Section 230. He accused big tech companies of discriminating against conservative users, a claim the companies have denied. The Department of Justice submitted proposed legislation to Congress in September, and in October the Federal Communications Commission promised to examine the interpretation of Section 230. The U.S. election interrupted Trump's push to have the law amended, and legal experts told Business Insider there was no chance of any changes to Section 230 getting through before President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration on January 20th. Even in the most optimistic scenario, any final rule will be challenged immediately in court and be put on hold, said Scott Shackelford, an associate professor of business law and ethics at Indiana University. Plus, any executive action in this context cannot fundamentally change Section 230, not without congressional action. Congress is able to override a presidential veto with a two-thirds majority. Per Politico, Trump has vetoed 8 bills during his term, and Congress has been unable to put together enough bipartisan support to override them. This means that if Trump follows through on his threat, the U.S. may have to wait until Biden's inauguration before military spending can resume. An anonymous source told The Washington Post that Republicans had suggested to Democrats that overhauling Section 230 could be exchanged for renaming Army bases named after Confederate figures, but that offer has been largely dismissed. Many Democrats have expressed support for changing Section 230, but for different reasons than Republicans have. Biden expressed support for revoking the law in January on the grounds it granted tech giants too much immunity for hosting harmful content.